Today I'm going to show you my top 3 favorite enrichment toys. They're also my dog's favorite as well. Stick around to the end. I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on how you can use these to solve some minor behavior issues. And also, the links are in the description below. So let's get started. These are Licki Mats, and Licki Mats come in many different forms, many different shapes, and many different sizes. I like to look for one that has a lot of different textures on them because the different textures are going to make the Licki Mat a different experience for your dog. So I like to have some that are a little bumpy, some that have some deeper grooves in them. This one has a lot of deeper grooves. This one's a little bit harder, and if I have a dog and I want to slow them down when they're eating, I'll use a Licki Mat such as this, and I'll use it like a bowl. So what you do is quite simple. All you do is take some peanut butter, yogurt, applesauce, baby food, and just smear it on the Licki Mat. For new dogs that have not used the Licki Mat much, I'll let them have it as it is. But if a dog has been using a Licki Mat before, I don't want him to go through it too quickly. So what I will do is I'll put it in the freezer. Just pop it in the freezer for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and bring it out, and it'll be a little bit harder for them to lick through the peanut butter, therefore giving them a little bit more time. This one has some deeper grooves. Now if you're gonna put peanut butter on this one, what I just do is I just kind of go like this with it. I might put some treats down in these grooves, and they'll work a little harder to get the treats out of the grooves. So that's a really fun one. That's a different one. I'm going to link all of these in the description so you can see the various types. A couple things when you wash these. They can get peanut butter and whatever you choose to use them stuck down in these grooves. So what I like to use is I like to use like some Dawn Power Wash or something like that, spray it on it, let it sit for a little while, and rinse it off. I also will put these, since they're silicone, I will put them in the dishwasher so they're quite easy to clean. Use a good, safe peanut butter like the Buddy Butter, and just have fun with them. Try all. This is the Snoop Toy, and the Snoop Toy comes in various colors, but I just brought an orange and a blue one here today. It also comes in a couple of different sizes. These are both medium, but you can also get them in a small. Now my dogs one weighs about 35 pounds, one weighs about 45 pounds, and this is the perfect size for them, and is also good for larger dogs. We have a version available for small dogs, and if you have a smaller dog, I would definitely recommend getting a smaller Snoop. There's 2 different ways to use this. I like to put the treats in. There's a little rim here. It makes the treats kind of move around inside the toy, and it's hard to get them out. So the dogs can develop their own method of knocking the toy around to try to get the treats out. It's kind of funny because one of my dogs will simply stick her nose in and eat all the treats that she can, and then she'll move it around and eat the treats just right out of the top of the toy. The other dog will pick them up and throw the Snoop down, which will cause the treats to fall out, and she really enjoys that. Another thing you can do if you have a dog that maybe isn't experienced in toys like this, or a young puppy, you can take it and you can turn it inside out and simply put the treats inside, and then the dog can easily knock it down and the treats will come out much easier. So that's another option. Now, as far as cleaning these toys, I never put them in the dishwasher. I don't believe it's recommended by the company, but I do soak them in the sink in soapy water, and then I'll rinse them out real good and turn them upside down to dry, and they're ready to go for next time. The treats I'm using today, which are perfect size, are the Charlie Bear treats and the From poppers. Either one of these work really well in the toy. They're easy for the dog to get them out. They're not too big, they're not too small. But I will warn you, if you use this toy, there is a hole in the bottom, which toys such as this should have a hole in the bottom, just so that you don't have a suction forming in the toy. So you want to make sure you have treats that are larger than that hole, otherwise the treats will just fall out. So give these a try with your dogs and let me know how they like them. I'd love to see a video on their problem-solving skills and how they get the treats out. This is the West Paw Toppll. Now, I really like the Toppll because it's very versatile. There's a lot that you can do with it. Now, it has a hole in it, and these toys will always have holes because you don't want to form a suction where the dog is actually licking the treats out. What I recommend is getting the Toppll Stopper, and you can use a stopper, put it in the hole, and what it will allow you to do, it will allow you to put a more liquid type filling in, put it in the freezer, and nothing will leak out while it's being frozen, which is really a nice benefit. Definitely get the Toppll Stopper. Now today I'm going to show you how I'm going to set this up for my dogs. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some peanut butter in the bottom, and I don't smear the whole thing full of peanut butter. I don't fill the whole thing with peanut butter, but I just put a bit down there in the bottom of the toy. And there's some little ridges in the bottom. I think you can see them there, and those little ridges are going to hold that peanut butter in place, so they have to really lick it to get it out. And what I want to do with this is I want to add a little bit of interest. Instead of it just being peanut butter today, I'm going to add some of those Charlie Bears that we used in previous videos, and I'm also going to put one of these Etta Says sticks in. And so as they lick the peanut butter out, they're going to get a lot of different varieties of flavors and tastes. Now, this toy is made out of a foam type material. It's very hard, very tough, but the dogs don't tend to chew them up very easily. As far as destroying them, I've never had one destroyed. Another thing about this is I would not put this in your dishwasher. I always wash them by hand and just let them air dry. So it's not recommended that they be in the dishwasher. But this is a toy that you can use for many different things. Sometimes people will put yogurt in these. I've had dogs before where in the summer it gets a little warm and you just want to put maybe some broth in the bottom of it, freeze it, and they can lick the broth out and it'll keep them cooler in the summer. It's just a nice, tasty, cool treat for them. So I'm going to put a little bit more peanut butter in here, just to kind of hold everything together, and then I'm going to put this in the freezer. Now that you've seen all of our favorite enrichment toys, I'd like to give you some tips and tricks on how to use these to make your life a little bit easier and solve some common behavior problems if your dogs have those. Before I do so, please like this video, share it, make some comments, and subscribe to this channel. I'd love to hear what your ideas are, what your thoughts are, and if you've tried some of these. First of all, let's talk about here where I am today. It is a cold, rainy day, and I just don't want to take my dogs outside to play in this. What I've done is I've filled up some of these treat dispensing toys, and right now they're playing with a Snoop. And so the Snoops are great because it does create a little bit of moving activity as well as some brain exercise for the dogs. So I use a lot of those on days like this where it's just kind of too icky to go outside. Now, if you have a dog, when you get visitors, that runs to the door, wants to jump on them, just can't help but be excited about company coming, what I like to do is I like to have my visitors call when they're almost to my house, and about the time they pull into the driveway, I'll bring my dogs into the kitchen and I'll say, hey, come on girls, look, we've got company coming. Let's get our Toppll out. And I'll get out a Toppll and I'll give them the Toppll, and they will be so busy enjoying their Toppll that they don't even think about jumping on the visitors or running to greet them at the door. And it's really good if you have one of those dogs that likes to door dart, redirect them, bring them into the house with a Toppll or with a Licki Mat or any other enrichment toy, just to kind of keep them away from the door. Now, here's a big one. A lot of people have dogs that struggle with getting nails trimmed. Nail trimming is really hard for a lot of dogs, and it can be kind of scary for us, especially if your dog pulls back while you're trying to trim those nails. So I like to get a Licki Mat with suction on the back. So these little suction cups are fabulous. I will use the peanut butter on the front of the Licki Mat, or maybe cream cheese, or whatever the dogs like. I'll stick this onto the refrigerator. While the dog is licking away, I can reach down and trim each of their nails. And the funny thing is about this, it becomes a fun game for them. Let's go, let's lick the Licki Mat. Here, you can have my paw and trim my nails. Now, it may not be overnight, it might take a little bit of time, but these are definitely good for that. And also, these Licki Mats with snuffle or with suction cups on them, they're really, really good for sticking them onto a bathtub wall, because some dogs don't like baths. Well, they do like to lick their Licki Mat, and sometimes that will help make that dog a little more comfortable in the bathtub. And For dogs that are fast eaters, these Licki Mats with the deep ridges are great. You just put the food on it. It takes them a long time to eat because they're having to go through each of the ridges to get their dinner.
We'd love to hear what your dog's favorite toys are. Leave us a comment below.